Let me type this and is the program name RSTX. RSTX RAM using standard program RSTX RAM. Sorry. Okay, so in this session we'll see how to use a standard text. What is standard text? Standard text is a reusable text. Reusable text. Let's take terms and conditions. One organization maintains some terms and conditions, right? So these terms and conditions might be common for different print layouts, right? Different print layouts. Here what we did, to print some terms and conditions, what we did here, we entered the terms and conditions text in the text, this text elements, right here. If I need to use same terms and conditions in a different form, what I need to do? Again, I have to copy or take same text and create in the new smart form. I have to use the same terms. I have to paste here, create a element. Sorry, we have to create element and we need to use the same terms and conditions. Let's say we are using same terms and conditions in 10 forms, right? Maybe after some time there would be some changes, right, for the terms and conditions, right? In future there might be any changes to the terms and conditions. Now how many forms you need to update? How many print forms you need to update with these updated terms and conditions? 10 forms you need to update, right?
Yes, sir.
Because you are using these terms and conditions text individually in each form. You are maintaining in the form level. You are not reusing it, right? So maintenance is difficult if there is any change to the text. So we cannot reuse the text, right? And there is no guarantee that we are maintaining the same text in all places, right? There might be some issues, some type issues or anything when we are maintaining these multiple forms, right? So to avoid this or to avoid this duplication, we use a concept called standard text. The transaction code is what is the transaction code? SO10. Here we create text, text in the sense long text, any long text, right? For example, terms and conditions. or email content, right? Or any other long text. Whatever the long text we need to display, we maintain the text in the standard text, and we just call the text in our form. Okay. What is the transaction code for standard text?
SO10.
SO10. Okay. And what are the other important points we have in smart form? Standard text is a client dependent. Client dependent. We have observed this when we are working on data dictionary tables. Client independent and client dependent. What is client independent? The changes,
Without MO.
yeah, MANDT. Without MANDT, we create the tables. So without MANDT, if you create the table is a client independent table where the data which you created in one client is visible to all the clients, right?
Yes.
Here we observe the same concept, but it is slightly different. Standard text is client dependent. That means if you create text in one client, for example, development client, there will be usually two clients, development client and unit testing client. In development client, we do the code changes. In unit testing client, we test it. As a programmer, you test it. Okay. We maintain all the test data and everything in that unit testing client. Okay. So when you join in the project, right? Since if you are going to climb, you have experience, right? So how can you ask them like about the servers and all? You need to ask them, hey, what is the development server? What is the quality server? And what is the production server? And what are the clients you are using in the development system? For development, what is the client we are using? And for unit testing client, what is the client we are using? Okay, or are we using same client for development as well as unit testing? In some projects, they use same client for development as well as unit testing in the right. So you need to ask these questions, okay, to your lead or your whoever responsible in that project. Okay, you need to understand the landscape. What are the systems in this project we are using? What is the development system? What is the test system we are using? What is the production system? Right? You may not access to production system, but you need to know what is the production system name. Right? In SAP GUI, you can see all those system names. You need to configure these systems sometimes. Sometimes they'll provide some file, XML file. You need to add that XML file to this GUI. I'll show you how to add it. Sometimes we place that in one folder. If you place that in one folder, it will automatically, I think there is some SAP folder in somewhere here. We maintain that file. So it will automatically populate all the systems. You don't need to create it using this connection. Okay. Excuse me. Or you can upload it here in options somewhere here. SAP logon options. Yeah, go to SAP logon options. Here you can see configuration file, right? So you need to download whatever the file they provided into system and select that file here, right? Go to that configuration file and select that file here. Okay, and they'll automatically populate here. They'll automatically populate here. Okay, you need to understand this. So where we upload that configuration file in GUI options, SAP logon options, configuration file. Select that configuration file from the any folder, and here also you need to select that. You need to select that configuration file. Whatever the file you uploaded here, it will display. Just select that. Okay. Here you can see SAP UI landscape.xml. This is the file which is already uploaded. Okay. See users app data there is some navigation. If you go to this land, you can find this file. Okay. Since it is a training server, we have a lot of users. Maybe let me find in any user. No permission. No, no. What is the current user we logged in? Or maybe we'll discuss these things in a separate session, miscellaneous topics. Okay. Now come back to standard text. Standard text is client dependent. If you create standard text in development client, is that automatically visible in unit testing client? No, it won't automatically visible. You need to copy this text from development client to test unit testing client. And one more thing, it won't create any transport request. When you create smart forms or programs, when you assign a package, it will automatically ask for a transport request, right? Since
Yes,
we are
sir.
using local object, a local package, it is not asking, but whenever you create the smart form, it will expect a transport request, right? But here in standard text, it won't ask for any transport request. We need to manually add standard text to the transport request to transport from development to test system. This is a very important interview question. How can you transport standard text from development to test system? What are the steps? First, we need to create a transport request, or if there is already created transport request, we can use it. And we need to add standard text to that transport request manually. Okay. How can we add the transport request? How can we add the text to the transport request? By using this program, RSTX TRAN. It is a standard program. How to copy standard text from one client to another client? Using SCC1. Any client dependent data, even some functional configurations. Functional consultants use it to do some functional configurations. They are also client dependent. How they copy these configurations from development to unit testing client? Using SCC1. Transport request is the input for this. Transport request number is the input for this. You need to provide the transport request number. So whatever the objects added to the transport request will be copied to the other client. Okay. So where we need to execute this SCC1 in the current client, or the client which we need to, the target client, the client where we need to copy the data. So we need to execute in the target client. For example, you are trying to copy client dependent data from client number 100 to client number 200. So here 200 is the target client, right? So we need to execute SCC1 in the target client, and we need to provide the transport request number. Okay. SCC1 is not specific for the standard text, but we use this in IDOC configurations, functional configurations, okay, to copy any client dependent data from one client to another client. Okay. So whenever you do changes, right, immediately you need to copy. Otherwise, those changes are not going to be reflected. Clear? Now let's create standard text. For standard text also, we follow some naming convention, right? Z, it should starts with Z. The remaining name we follow as per the project naming standards. Create it, create the text. By default, it will show Windows Word based editor. So it is very easy to maintain the text, long text, right? Sometimes we need to use a text editor. That means here you can change change to line editor also. Change editor. This is line editor. This is line editor. Here maintaining the long text is little difficult, but in line editor we have many options. You can see here, right? Click on this. If you use star, means default paragraph. It will start a paragraph. B means paragraph with justified. C means centered. L means left aligned. If you want to align the text left side, you need to select L. Equal to means continuous text. Sorry, this blank space means if you maintain blank space here means this is a continue to the above line, previous line. Equal to means extended line. There is difference between continuous text and extended line, space and equal to. If you maintain space, right? For example, you type AEROPL and there is not enough space in the first line to implement the to type the next letters. You need to use in the next line. The continue it is part of the same word, right? PLANE, aeroplane. It is part of same word, right? So now what is the option we need to select here in the next line? We need to select continuous text. Okay. If you select equal to, it won't consider it is part of this word. It will maintain one space. Okay. So we have different options. Usually text can be maintained in this uh, word based editor, right? Here you can easily maintain that text in word based editor. So now let's maintain some terms and conditions here, or I'll use same terms and conditions. Copy from here. I'll just paste it here. Save it. Save it. Go back. Print preview. Here you can see print preview using LP01 local printer, right? This is how your standard text will be displayed. Now what is the next step? Is it did we create any transport request, or is it expecting any package name when we are creating the standard text? No, right?
No, sir.
Sir.
If we don't add it to the transport request, we cannot transport it from development to test system, right? So here in the form level, we'll see how to add this to transport request after this. So I'm in smart form now. Now how to call standard text in our forms. Let me delete this standard text which I've created. I've deleted this, the text element which I've created. Now let me reuse the standard text. Right click, create, create text, same option. Now observe carefully. What is the text type? Text element, right?
Text element.
So that you can type here or you can pass the dynamic values. Instead of text elements, select include text. Select include text. Okay. What is the text? What is the text name we need to pass?
ZDemo,
demo.
Yes, whatever the standard text you created in SO10.
SO10.
Copy that standard text name. Provide the name of the standard text. Text object, I think it is text. Let me search here. This one, SAP script standard text. You need to select this. SAP script standard text. Text. Text ID. Text ID is ST. ST means standard text. This one, standard text. Okay. Language, EN. Okay. Remaining things are common. If you want to maintain any borders or shading, you can maintain. Condition. If you want to add any condition to display the standard text, if company code 100 display one terms and condition, and if company code 200 display different terms and conditions, right? Then what you need to do, you need to add condition here. If company code equal to 100, then display this. Otherwise, create one more text, add different standard text name, the different terms and conditions, and add the condition, right? Save it, activate it. So I've added the standard text. Simple. Create the standard text and add the standard text here. The only important thing is you need to adjust your window. Depends on the standard text size. Okay. Here. Let me execute how the standard text will work. What is the driver program we have? This one, right? The demo smart forms. There is some runtime error. Why? An exception has occurred when calling function module. This one of the parameter required according to the interface. Okay, the required parameter is not passing ITPO data. We are not passing the importing parameter. Why? I think it is working when we created it.
If system property is equal to 0.
No, that's okay. Did we create different program to print tabular data?
I think sample. I think sample smart form one.
I think same. No, no, I'm not talking about the form name.
The program name, so we have another program with that name.
Okay. So I think we have used some PO data program, right? This one, PO data form. Since we changed the form, so you have to change that other program as well, because it is taking previous importing parameters. We have to change that program. So it is displaying terms and conditions here, right? This is coming from standard text, right? So same standard text can be added to any smart form or Adobe form. Okay. Now, is everyone clear how to add standard text to the smart form?
Yes, sir.
Now, how to transport this? How to transport this? For that, first we need to create one transport request, or if it is already generated, for example, when we create the smart form, it will ask for a transport request, right? So we can also use the existing transport request, right? Or if there is no transport request, create your own. Where you can create, go to SC09, create transport request, create workbench transport request, some task 200, save it. Your transport request is created. What is the type of it? What is the type of the subtask? Unclassified.
Just right.
Change it, change it, change type through development correction. Now we have transport request. This is how we can manually create the transport request. Okay. You can also change the owner. If you want to assign this transport request to a different developer, just change the owner of the subtask. Right click, change owner, provide the new username. Do the same for main task. Okay, change owner. When you want to assign this transport request to a different developer. Okay, or you can also add one more user to this transport request as subtask. Add user. Provide that new username here so that both developers can include all their changes in the same transport request. Sorry. Clear? So in some projects, what they do, they maintain one transport request for all the developments which they are going to release in this current phase. And they'll add multiple users to the same transport request. So all the developers are going to add their changes to same transport request. Now our transport request is ready. Now what is the next step? Go to the standard program. What is the program?
Artist.
RSTX
TRA.
TRAN. RSTX TRAN is the program. Execute. Here's task means provide the subtask name, transport request subtask name, subtask or main task, and provide standard text whatever you need to add here. Or if you want to add multiple standard text, if you created multiple standard text and you need to add all at once, click on this, maintain all the standard text names here, right? One by one. Execute, select all or select. You can use select all and press enter, press enter. Number of selected text 1. Now click on this, add to task. Yes. This text, standard text, is added to the transport request. Now go to the transport request and check. Refresh this or open this transport request again. Copy this, go back. This one, right? PO print form. If you expand this, standard text is added. Similarly, you can add multiple standard text in a single execution. Okay. Here, what we confuse is, do we need to provide transport requests main task or subtask? Which one we need to provide here? Subtask name.
Subtitles.
Subtask name, and that should be development and correction. The type of the subtask should be development and correction. You can add multiple standard text names in a single execution by maintaining multiple here. Okay, clear?
Sir, can you tell one thing?
I'll provide you. We have one more concept of address window. Address windows. Let me add one window to display the address of customer, address of vendor, anything, or address of the employee. Or since I am not displaying any header, I'll use this window for address. I'll add it here. I'll rename it to address data. Okay. I'll take it as secondary window. The type can be secondary window. Now inside this, I'll create address. Create. Observe this. What I am creating? Address. I've created address here. Now what you need to provide here in place of address?
Address number.
Address number. I'll explain this address number concept. What is the standard table for or what is the master table for customer?
KNA1.
Let's go to S11 KNA1. So this is customer master data, right? Or customer or vendor master data, right? To maintain address, we have a special field that is ADRNR. ADRNR. It will maintain that address number here. What is the foreign key table for this? Check for ADRNR. Looks like foreign key is not maintained. So we have a address table called ADRC. ADRC. So the actual address data will be maintained in ADRC table. Okay, this is the address master data. Whatever the address it is, customer address, organization address, vendor address, employee address, plant address, whatever it is, all the address data will be maintained in which table? ADRC. ADRC
ADRs.
table. And we have here address number. Address number is the key. Execute. So address number and the corresponding address fields you can find here, right? City, street, city, country, pin code, everything. Okay. So by using this address number, we read the address data. For example, you need to display address of customer in the ALV report, right? Address of the customer in the ALV report. Which table you need to join with KNA1?
ADRC.
ADRC. You need to join ADRC table, where address number of ADRC equal to KNA1 ADRNR. ADRNR is the address number field of a customer. For example, let me check some data. You can find address number here, right? Select one address number, Control Y, Control C, go to ADRC, enter the address number. So you can find that address data here in the ADRC table. Okay. What is your primary source of address in SAP? ADRC table.
Yes.
Okay. We need to join that address number with the ADRC. Okay. Now let's assume we need to print some address data in our form. Simply, you can pass what type of address it is. Create a address window, right click, create address, and in the address, you need to pass the address number. What type of address it is? Organization address, personal address, these things you have to provide. And here provide the address number 484. Provide the address number. Save it, activate. Now let's execute the program to check the output. Excuse me. Go to the program, PO data form, execute, print preview. So here if you observe, it is displaying company name, address and country and postal code, right?
Yes.
Or in some cases, you create individual text elements for postal code, sorry, for door number, street number, city, country, and bind elements which is coming from the importing parameter. Binding nothing but this one, dynamic values, like this. Okay, bind the text element with the importing parameter data with street, city, country, and postal code as a separate text elements. Okay, so ADRC is very important. Sorry, whenever you are talking about address data in SAP, which one should comes to your mind first? Which one you should check first?
KNA1 after ADRC.
ADRC table. So since we are talking about customer address, we opened KNA1, but in general, whenever someone asking you to print or select some address, the first table you should think about is ADRC, right? Address number is the input for ADRC. What depends on the type of the address, you need to go to that corresponding table, KNA1, LFA1, whatever. Okay. First check for ADRNR field in that table, master data table, and by using that ADRNR number, you can find the corresponding address in ADRC table. Okay, clear? So we created standard text, right? We use not only in the print forms. We can also use standard text in the report programs to reuse the text. For that, we have a function module. How to read the standard text in the programs? We have a function module, that is read underscore text. Read underscore text. So by using this read underscore text function module, we can read standard text in our program level. Okay, let's create a simple program to read the standard text. Save, save in some package. It will ask for transport request. For now, keep it in the local object. I'm not using any, I'll just add the events. I'm adding the events so that you can recollect again. If you are not using any validations, don't maintain blank event. Okay, remove this. What is a function module to read the standard text? Read
Read.
underscore text. What is the input for this function module? Client, you can enable and pass sy mand. This is system variable. Maintain the current client. What is ID?
ST,
ST.
ST,
ID or ST, I think. Or first, let's test this in SC37 before using it. Execute. Client, it will automatically populate. Think text. ID is text. Language is EN. Name ZDemo. Text. Is that the text what we created? Or sorry, ZDemo terms. Text name. I think remaining things are optional. Execute. Object. What is object? Let me try ST. Object ST does not exist.
Sir, ID is ST and object is text, sir.
Okay.
Like
ST. Okay. Yeah, correct. So ID is ST, object is text. Now if you see result tab, you can see the standard text, right? Now let's pass the same inputs in the program. ID is ST, always these values we should define as constants. Okay, type of this field, whatever the type we are using for id, use same type for the constant, define as constant. Okay, don't hard code. En name zdemo underscore terms, object text, and we need to return the text, right? For that we need one internal table like structure. How to create that internal table like structure? Use, go to the function module, display, export parameters. What is the type? T head. Create one internal table with the same type. What is this? Is it a let me check. Is it, what is this? It's a structure. Oh, sorry, lines, not T head. We have to take lines. It's a structure. T line. We have to take T line. Type, since it's a structure, standard table of. Pass this text here. Sorry. Let's display sample text using CL demo output. Something went wrong. Language en. Okay, we are passing en. I think we need to pass only e. Sub RC0. Text is returned into this, and we can make use of this standard text in the program. Okay.
Sir,
Yes.
in language, can we pass a system login language?
Yes. S for hyphen LANGU. Okay.
Okay, sir.
So all of them make these as constants. When you are using these hard-coded values like this, make these as constants. I'll show you one sample one. For ID, we are using st, right? So go to the function module. What is the type for ID? This one, right? Type TDID. Double click. Take this data element, TDID. Now go to the program. Create a constant. Value. Okay. Instead of hard-coded value, maintain the constants. Okay, like this. For name, go to the function module and check what is the type of that importing parameter. Name, this TD name. Double click, or you can take the as it is, or you can take the corresponding data element. Go back, define the constant. When you are creating the program itself, do all these things. Okay. This comes under best practices. Okay. Don't use single quotes when you are using constants. Always remember, even you do the small change to the program, even you do very minor change to the program, always test it, execute and test it. Okay.